Now, let me ask you something, my brother. Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of the menorah?
Nope.
Never heard of that?
Nope.
Let me ask you, you know about the Jewish people?
We Jewish.
We are, okay, we are. All right, so you already a little bit enlightened somewhat, right?
Yes, sir.
So now, you never heard of the menorah?
Nope.
All right, let's read it again. I saw what?
Revelation chapter 1 and verse 12. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me.
Now, what we're reading here, this is Revelation chapter 1. Now, this is John the Revelator revealing what happened during this time. He said, I turned around and I saw what?
I saw 7 golden candlesticks. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks.
So now, those 7 golden candlesticks is called the menorah today, right? So what that means is you got 1 in the middle, and then you got 3 on the right side, 3 on the left side. You with me? Which makes 7. Now, when you look here, right, you see, that's what you're looking at here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You with me? Come on.
And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot.
Let me ask you something. How was Christ born? What have you been taught?
We've been taught that he was born through Virgin Mary,
Uh-huh.
and she was pregnant out of nowhere, right?
Pregnant out of nowhere. Now, let me ask you something. Does that make sense to you? Do you believe that?
No, I don't.
You don't believe that. What do you actually believe?
I believe that Jesus was created the same way I got here.
Okay, absolutely. Now, that's key. Read this again. Well, go back. No. Go back and read that again.
The book of Revelation chapter 1 and verse 12. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me. And being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man.
Now, that's key. John said, one like unto the Son of Man. What does the Son of Man mean?
Son of Man means a son of man. Simple, plain as day.
You see how easy that is?
Yeah.
But they taught us, no. He just popped into Mary's belly all of a sudden. No. That didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
He said, one like the Son of Man. Come on.
Clothed with a garment down to the foot.
Now, Christ had on a long garment down to his foot, right? Read on.
And girt about the paps with a golden girdle.
That means girt about the paps with a golden girdle on, right? Come on.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow.
Now, this is the depiction of Christ in the Bible. It says the hair on his head and his beard was what?
Completely white.
White and what texture?
Like wool.
White and woolly. Yeah. Yes. So now we know, based on what we're reading so far, Christ looks like who? Like our grandfathers.
Right.
In terms of his hair color and texture, right?
Morgan Freeman.
Right. Morgan Freeman, right? Come on.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow.
My sister, we're reading the depiction of Christ in the Bible. Have you ever heard this? We're going to read it. Read it again. His head and what?
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow.
It says Christ, the hair on his head and his beard was woolly, white and woolly. Now, a sheep has woolly hair, right? We're the only people on the planet Earth that have that texture hair. So-called black people, let me say it like that. Okay, come on.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Now, what is that talking about? His eyes was as a flame of fire. They were red. Any idea why? How you doing, sis?
I have no idea why.
He was upset.
You said he was upset? Okay, that's a good guess. My sister, what do you say? You didn't hear what we just read, right? I want to read it again. No, that was a good guess, though. I want her to answer.
The book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 14. His head and his hairs were white.
Now, what we're reading is the depiction of Christ. John the Revelator, he turned around and now he's writing down everything he saw with his eyes. Come on.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow.
His head and the hair on his beard was white and woolly. As my brother already said, what people have woolly hair on the earth today?
The
Woolly.
Israelites, African Americans.
African American, what do you say? What people have woolly hair on the planet?
Well, I agree with you read.
Let me ask you something. Does the Chinese people have woolly hair?
No, they do not.
Okay, so what people have woolly hair?
Me?
There you go. You. Right. So guess what? We're reading about you in this Bible.
That's right.
In particular, Christ right now, but he's one of our ancestors, our brother. Okay? Come on, read it again.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Now, my sister, what's your name?
Diane.
Diane, Jaquel,
Christian.
and Christian. Diane, Jaquel, and Christian. Now, she said, it says his eyes was as a flame of fire. She said he was mad. What do you think? Why was his eyes red like a flame of fire? That's what's talking about Christ.
Because he's the Messiah. He's a black Messiah.
Okay, he's the black.
He do look mad.
Okay, he's mad. What you say?
Vengeance.
I have no answer.
All right, cool. Now let's get it. Let's get it. We're gonna show you right now. Watch this.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 49 and verse 12.
Now we just read the last book in the Bible. We're going all the way to the first book in the Bible. Watch this.
His eyes shall be red with wine.
Wait a minute. What did Moses say?
His eyes shall be red with wine.
Moses prophesied that Christ's eyes will be red because of wine. So now what do you think? What happened with the wine?
What he drinks.
There you go.
Because he was upset.
Nah, he drank the wine. That's what happened. Now when you drink a little bit, what happens to your eyes?
They do turn red.
Right. That's all this talk about. Now he is coming back with vengeance. We can read that, but that's the particular reason why his eyes was red with wine. Come on, read it again.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass.
So now what John is doing, he's describing Christ from head to toe, right? He said he had on a garment down to the foot. He talked about the belt he had on. Now he went down to his feet. He said his feet was like what?
And his feet like unto fine brass.
Now, what color is brass?
Brown.
Brown, right? Brown. His feet was like fine brass. Now you got open toe on. Your feet are the same color as your legs, your arms, your stomach, your feet.
Like unto fine brass.
So now we can look down at anybody's feet and tell what color their face looks like.
That's right.
That's what John is letting us know here. His feet was like what?
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace.
So now if you took that brown and burned it, does it get lighter? Darker. We're reading about Christ, like you said, the black Messiah. Okay, our King, our Lord. Our King, our Lord. Now, I got the 12 tribe sign. I want to ask y'all something. What tribe do you come from?
Okay, my dad told me that I was from the tribe of Judah, but I think that I'm between Benjamin and Judah.
Okay. Your pops told you from Judah. What about you?
Well,
You already know a little bit about it?
Because I'm mixed up.
go ahead, sweetheart. Go ahead. Go ahead, baby.
I'm just so into this.
Numbers 1 and 18. What were you saying?
Me, I'm from
Nah, because it is.
Right, you are, but I'm saying which one? Which one? So come look. You can get a little bit closer. Just come look. So now,
I got to remember myself where I'm from.
yeah, there you go. You heard what she said? She said she has to remember herself, where she's from. This is what we out here. To call our people
I
back.
think about it because I am going through a little rainfall.
No worries. I understand. So now, let me ask you this. When you fill out a job application, would you put Jamaican, black, Puerto Rican? What would you put on your job application as your race? Just black? You put Indian? Okay.
No, I put black.
Black. What about you?
I put white to get ahead.
But I'm saying in reality though, what is it though?
It's not up there, to be honest.
No, I get it. I get that point. I'm saying the society in society, what would
They
they
just
really?
put black.
Okay, they would put black. Okay. Now you, where would you fall in that?
I'm falling in Judah.
Nah. You said
I'm an Indian.
you said Native American.
Not Native American. See, Indian and Native American is two different things. Indian is a short word for indigenous. So if we already people of this land, we are identified as Indians. We just don't know it.
So let me ask you this: you feel like you were one of your ancestors came before Columbus?
Was already yes.
Okay, so now that's gonna make you fall under Gad.
That's right.
Okay,
Right.
which is what? What's on this side?
American Indian.
Right, American Indian. So do you have Native American quote unquote blood in your family on your father's side?
No, on my mom's side, my father's Puerto Rican.
Your father's Puerto Rican. All right, so look at the sign again.
Yeah,
Where,
I see it.
where you see Puerto Rican at?
I see it right there.
Right. Where is it?
You're freedom.
Right. Ephraim. So now Numbers 1 and 18. I'm gonna show you why we're reading this.
The book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse
Or why we're going over it like that. Watch this.
verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month.
Now the congregation came together on the first day of the second month. Go ahead.
And they declared their pedigrees
They declared their lineage. Right? Come on.
after their families by the house of their fathers.
You see that? By the house of your father. So you are what your father is. It doesn't go by the mother's lineage. It goes by the father. So your father's so-called Puerto Rican, that's what you are. Even though your mother's Native American.
Even though Puerto Ricans are already black people.
They are, correct. Right, but you are what your father is. So now you fall under the tribe of Judah, okay? Judah, now, Hebrews 7. Let me show you that about Christ. Because we just read about Christ, we're going to tell you what tribe he came from himself. I'm going to get you in a second. 1 second. Hebrews 7.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 7 and verse 14. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah.
It is evident, it's evidence, it's obvious. They have proof that Christ came out of the tribe of Judah. Now, how was Christ born? Let me ask you that. I already asked my brother here. How was Christ born? Like, because we were taught when we came up that Christ just immaculately popped into Mary's stomach. Right? You ever heard that? Yeah. Right. So do y'all believe that?
Well, it's been a long while since
Well, I'm just asking what you believe.
Like basically she was a virgin and then
She was a virgin, never had sex, and then he just...
I believe in the impossible, so I can't.
Okay. Now, read this again.
Matthew.
No, Hebrews 7.
The book of Hebrews, yes, sir. Yep. Chapter 7 and verse 4.
Now, this is I'm gonna show you why this is key, right? We just read Numbers 1 and 18 that says you declare your pedigree after what?
your father, oh my God.
Your father. Now that says Hebrews 7 again.
For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah.
So now, the Bible already told you in the first 5 books of the Bible that you are what your father is. This says he came out of the tribe of Judah. So what would they be basing that off? His mother? His father.
He was here.
His actual father.
He was on this land we walking right now.
His actual father. Now, who was his father? Joseph. Joseph and Mary actually had sex. They did. Okay, now give me Wisdom of Solomon. Yes. Wisdom of Solomon. You know what I want, right?
What club was that at?
Admit that a lot of people don't even realize they.
I've called her. She hasn't responded. I've called her more than a few times.
With the Zulu Nation, I'm like, what the hell is this? I know nobody know what I'm talking about. You'll leave me on the island by myself. I don't know what the hell Bishop's talking about. That's what y'all do. Then after class, yeah, I knew what you were talking about. I just don't want to be caught out there. The hell is this? Get on my damn nerves. So read that again. 31.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 1. I myself also am a mortal man.
Now this is Solomon. He says, I myself am a mortal man. Come on.
I also am a mortal man, like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth.
He says, I'm the offspring of him that was first made on the earth. We're the offspring of who? Adam. Adam, the first man. Watch this.
And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood and of the seed of man.
Now, he's just talking about pregnancy. In the mother's womb, compacted in blood, of the seed of what?
Of the seed of man.
Of the seed of man. What is the seed of man? Yeah, that's what it is. Of the seed of man. Come on.
And of the seed of man.
Go on.
And the pleasure that came with sleep. And when I was born, I drew in the common air and fell upon the earth, which is of like nature.
Right, it says fell upon the earth. The birthing techniques back then were totally different. Right, that's what it is, okay? Women gave birth upright, not on their backs. Come on, read on.
And became and drew the common air and fell upon the earth, which is like nature.
Which is like nature, come on.
And the first voice which I uttered was crying.
You see that? Like all babies, the first voice was crying, okay? Because we're born into, like you said, the matrix. It's like, oh, God, we back again, okay? Come on.
As all others do.
As all others do, read.
I was nursed in swaddling clothes, and that was that with cares. For there is no king that had...
read that part slow.
For there is no king that had any other beginning of birth.
See that? There is no king that had any other birth. Every man after Adam was born through sex. Every one of them, including Christ himself. You see that? That's how Christ was called the Son of Man. You understand? Now, you had a question real quick.
Well, okay, I have a question about my great-grandson. His name is Asher. His father is black. And Asher Thomas White. So is he still?
No, he's good. Numbers 1 and 18 again. Numbers 1 and 18. That's a good question. That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that question. Because we have many. Don't go nowhere, sis. Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. I want to deal with something. You asked, how do we get out the matrix? I want to deal with that after this question, right? Now, Numbers 1 and 18 one more time.
The book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month.
Now, you listen to this? They assembled the congregation together on the first day of the second month. Go ahead.
And they declared their pedigrees after their families.
They declared their pedigrees after their families. But what?
By the house of their fathers.
You see that? By the house of their fathers. So it doesn't matter what the mother is in particular. You understand? Now, he may have some of the features of his mother. That still doesn't determine his lineage, his genealogy. You see what I'm saying? Like he might have the, not woolly hair. Or it might be a little bit less woolly or curly. You know what I'm talking about. Lighter skin, Chinese eyes, whatever. It don't matter. That don't matter. Now, give me a Baruch 4. All right? My sister asked the question, okay, how do we get out of this matrix, right? Let's answer that. Baruch chapter 4. Let's start at 1.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endureth forever.
Now that says, this is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endureth how long? Forever. Now, you looking at this kind of funny.
I want to know the front of it.
Right. So now, y'all ever heard of this before?
Yes, I got a book like that.
You got a book like that? I want to show y'all something.
I left my book at home.
I want to show y'all something. Hold on.
I got my Bible.
So now, y'all see this. This is my Bible, right?
Yeah, I got mine.
King James Bible. Now, look at this. Typically, the last book in the Old Testament is what book? Nah, the Old Testament. Y'all know?
I remember the Old Testament.
Start with an E.
Nope. An M. Malachi. You see that right here? Typically, Malachi is the last book. Then, when you get to the New Testament, the first book is what? In the New Testament. Matthew, right? Okay. But look at this. After Malachi, watch this. You see that?
When they put it in there.
No. What happened is, you said when they put it in there. No. When did they take it out? That's the question. When did they take it out? Because you can still get it. What I'm showing y'all is y'all can still get it in here. It's a lot more expensive, but you can still get it. So now, his Bible, like this one, that's just a little cheap Bible. You can get it, what? 15, 20? $10, right? This is, so what I'm showing y'all, he said $10, right? This is over 100. But most of the time, our people, they're not going to spend $100 and some for a book. You understand? That's good. You can still get it with it in there. I just wanted y'all to see that. We're not just making this up and just pull this out of thin air. Well, that one in particular, I got it off Amazon. But you can, if you go to the bookstores and ask for King James with the Apocrypha in it, they can order it for you. Some of them are a little bit cheaper than that, but let's read on. Watch this. We're going to your question, sis. What's up, my brother?
Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life.
You see what it says there? If we keep God's commandments, we shall come to what? Life. Now, when you're in the matrix, what state are you in? You're asleep. You're asleep when you're in the matrix.
What does matrix mean?
What? Explain it to her.
I think it's more of just the ignorance. Yeah, like you just knowledge of nothing. Like you just like a zombie.
Exactly. That's the point. When you're in the matrix, you're asleep. You're a zombie. You don't know what's going on around you. You just, every day, you just walk around. Same pattern. You don't know where you're going, where you come from, or nothing. This says, all they that keep God's commandments shall come to life. Now, read on.
But such as leave it shall die.
But when we leave it, we shall die. Meaning what? We're stuck in the matrix. You see that? Come on.
Verse 2. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it.
Now, what is God saying? Turn thee. Who's Jacob? Who's Jacob? Let's get it. Genesis 32. Genesis 32. Watch this. I'm going to show you. 28. Yes, sir. Follow
The book of Genesis, chapter 32 and verse 28. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel.
See, the angel changed Jacob's name to Israel. Read it again.
And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God.
For as a prince hast thou power with God. So now what does that mean? That means Israel, this means a prince of God.
That's right.
A prince of God. That's who we descend from. Princes of God. So now when we read Jacob, it's talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. That's all I want y'all to see. Jacob is talking about Israel. Read again. Baruch 4.
The book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 2. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light.
You see what it says? Walk in the presence of the light. So now, what was this really going into? It's saying do what? What is God telling us to do? To come out of the matrix, he's saying we got to keep what?
His commandments.
His commandments. So now, what are some of the commandments?
Well, not to lie,
Not to lie, love thy neighbor,
not to steal.
not to steal, right? What about you, bro? You know some?
I know a few. Thou shalt not lie. Thou not shalt commit adultery.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt it's a few of them, but you know.
Now,
Don't
what's
kill,
key?
basically. You know, don't kill.
No,
basically.
y'all touching on them. I want to read one. Give me Exodus 20 and 8, just for an example. I'm gonna read this. Watch this.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Now, God says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. What day is the Sabbath day? Okay, you say Saturday. What do you say?
I don't think it's a weekday.
You don't think it's a weekday? Okay, let's get Genesis. Genesis chapter 2 and 1.
Can you explain me about Sunday too?
Yeah, we'll do. So now, notice it says, remember the Sabbath day. So you said that you don't think it's a weekday. All right, let's read this. I'm going to show you.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2 and verse 1. And on the seventh day, God ended his work, which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day.
Now, read it again.
And on the seventh day,
And on the seventh day, go ahead.
God ended his work, which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day.
See that? He rested on the seventh day. Go ahead.
From all his work, which he had made. And,
Is that it?
verse 3.
Come on.
And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it,
God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. Go ahead.
because that in it he had rested from all his work, which God created and made.
So now, it is a particular day. It's the seventh day of every single week. Now, what day is that? What is the last day of every week? Saturday. There it is.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity.